Welcome to NBA Today. We are counting it down to free agency, and the clock, it is ticking on one of the biggest days of the NBA calendar. It is about to go down. So for more, we're joined by our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, because, Woj, we're about 3 days away at this point. There is so much to discuss, but as we stand right now, where do things stand between Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers?
Malika, essentially where they've stood for a very long time. This is an organization now, after the draft, turning toward free agency, certainly a trade market that is significant and still exists out there to try to continue to build a roster around Damian Lillard. Joe Cronin, their general manager in Portland, met with Damian Lillard, his agent, yesterday, and talked through, I expect, a number of different scenarios and plans that this team has. Now, I don't know what was said in that meeting or what Damian Lillard shared with the Blazers, but I do know what I think most general managers, if they were in that room, would have said essentially: if you want to be here and you want us to be able to improve this roster here in the near term, the next week, 10 days, 2 weeks, it helps us to have leverage that you are committed to being here, and that there aren't stories out there, there's not a sense out there that a trade request is imminent, because ultimately that makes it harder for Portland to do what Damian Lillard has said he wants them to do. That's make deals for veteran players to improve the roster, ahead of next season. And so I don't get a sense there are a bunch of teams around the NBA who are putting off their free agency plans, their trade, potential trade deals, expecting that Damian Lillard is going to be on the market. Certainly, I think an organization like Miami, where you see the natural fit there, certainly they're probably watching it. I believe they are watching it closer, but I generally think business is going on as usual around the league. Teams expect Damian Lillard to be in Portland.
That's very, very interesting, Woj. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on NBA Today. We're going to be seeing you a whole lot this week. But Woj just shared something really interesting. What is the domino that is going to be falling here in free agency that teams are looking at, that they're waiting to see in order to make their plans? It's a good thing we have Ramona Shelburne here to help us wade through all of that. Zach Lowe is joining us, as well as our resident big man, Kendrick Perkins. And we just heard that Woj broke it all down, the latest on Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers. So, Ramona, I'm going to start with you here. Yeah. What do you expect is next for Dame for the Trailblazers?
Well, I think Woj said that perfectly, which is Damian Lillard has indicated to everyone he wants to be in Portland. He would like them to improve the team. And so he's giving them every opportunity to do so. The question is, how long can he give them? Is it the start of free agency? Is it all the way through free agency? How long does he give them to noticeably improve the team? And by the way, there are other free agents that are waiting on his answer and thought process too. Jeremy Grant would like to know, right? If the Blazers are going to make any trades, some of the players involved in those trades, there's a Yusuf Nurkic, Anthony Simons, Jaden Sharp. There's a lot of players who, as Woj said, is the rest of the league sitting around going about their business and waiting on Dame? That's what every franchise has to answer. And I think the question is, are you in that discussion for Damian Lillard, or are you just going to sit back and let him be on his own timetable, depending on how closely you are affected by his decision?
Because it impacts who wants to come back to Portland, if people want to go to wherever Damian Lillard would end up being. Zach, we know that the Portland Trailblazers, they put out a statement yesterday saying that they all met, that they're committed to building a winner around Damian Lillard. What do they need to get back into that playoff picture that's been evading them?
Very simple. They need more veteran help, whether it's on the wing, where they're extremely young around Dame, with Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson, who can play both guard positions, and Anthony Simons. Maybe an upgrade at center, but they're going to need an infusion of veteran talent somewhere, whether it's trade, free agency. They should have the full mid-level exception. They can re-sign some of their own guys like Matisse Thybulle. A combination of all those things, they're going to need to find 2, 3, 4 more contributors, because right now they're young and they're a little bit thin. They have a pathway. It's a really difficult needle to thread, but they have a pathway to being a good playoff team in the Western Conference, trotting this middle road where they keep Dame and they keep most of their young guys, but they're going to have to hit on a lot of signings and get lucky like any other team. It's going to be very, very difficult to build a true blue contender this way, but it's worth a shot if and as long as all the main parties involved actually want to do it.
Right, namely Damian Lillard. But Zach, Perk this morning, he was fired up, shall we say, on the production call. I understand that you have a pep talk for the Trailblazers, so I'm just going to give you the floor, Perk.
He cleared his throat. Oh, my gosh.
No, I'm not. Bring it on.
I'm nervous.
So here's the thing. We keep talking about the trades and what moves need to be made and what big name could go to Portland and pair alongside Damian Lillard. And here's the fact of the matter. It was two teams that put the world on notice this past season. And one of them was the Sacramento Kings, and led by De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. You had Mike Brown develop their culture. When I look at the Portland Trailblazers, it's not a big leap. They're on the same level as the Sacramento Kings when you look at them from a talent basis. Anthony Simons, Grant, if they re-sign him back, those guys are studs. And when the big three of the Portland Trailblazers were healthy, they were a problem early in the season. And then moving to Miami, they didn't have a lot of household names. They just shocked the world in the Eastern Conference, knocking off the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics with guys like Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Caleb Martin. So what I think about the Portland Trailblazers, I'm like, yes, add some veterans to the bench. Maybe look at a Marcus Morris and see what his situation with the Wizards is looking like. But Chauncey Billups, challenge yourself to have the locker room and Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons believe that they could get it done. Challenge your player development, that they could believe that they could develop these young guys and trust the system that you could actually make a run into the postseason. So what it showed me this past postseason, it don't matter if you're a household name. It don't matter if you have another all-star caliber player alongside of you. Can you get your organization and culture right that they believe in themselves and each other so that you can make a run in the postseason? So I'm challenging Chauncey Billups along with Damian Lillard to gather his young troops along with the veterans he already have to go out there and do what Sacramento did and Miami Heat did this past season, and that's to put the world on notice.
Well, I mean, Damian Lillard, 4 years, $216 million left on his contract, but, you know, Jimmy Butler had Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, also, you know, so I get what you're saying, Perk. It's the talent meeting the mindset that needs to happen here in Portland.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. It's Dame time. It's Dame time. It's Dame time. It could be trade time. You don't know. They met with the Portland GM yesterday. Him and his agent, Damian Lillard, and his agent met with the Portland GM to discuss the future. Now, he was told that they're trying to build around him, and that's cool. They're trying to build around Damian Lillard. However, you got a bunch of youth. You got to pull the trigger. 100% you got to pull the trigger. You got a lot of youth. You got to get someone like Mikal Bridges. You got to get someone like, you know, a center. You got to get Miles Turner. You got to get Buddy Hield. You got to get all these kind of guys. And I don't know if they're going to do that. But Damian Lillard being coveted by a couple teams is occurring, as everybody knows. It's Miami. Miami would probably give up a couple picks. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent. I don't know if his Max Strus is involved in this or not. But they would probably give a lot of those guys up just to get Damian Lillard. And to free up cap space, they might just waive Kyle Lowry because nobody wants him in trade talks. Now, let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets, what they could do is because they want to pair him up with Mikal Bridges. Because if you guys remember, it was Damian Lillard that went to go see Mikal Bridges in a playoff game. Now, those two are friends. Those two pretty much behind the scenes express that they want to play with each other. Everybody knows this. right? Everybody knows this. And so if it was the Nets, they have a lot of picks. And, you know, they could surround him with, or they could give up those picks, give up the assets they got from Dallas, assets they got from Phoenix, and Cam Johnson, because Cam Johnson is legit, and there's a reason why Detroit Pistons, and I'm going to do free agency in a couple days here, there's a reason why Detroit is offering him a lot of money, because I believe he's either RFA or UFA, unrestricted or restricted. Either way, I think if he's not involved in a trade, he's going to go to Detroit to play with Monty Williams. So that is about it for that. And the fact that remains is Damian Lillard has not said anything that he wants to trade. Portland has not said anything that they want to trade Damian Lillard. I don't think any one of them wants to pull the trigger here, but quite frankly, this is like the third freaking year in a row that we've been hearing this. Last year, Damian Lillard went up to LeBron James, had a meeting with him, and it was to do with, you know, in the future and whatnot kind of thing, and playing in the big time. Everybody went crazy because everybody thought Lakers were going to get Damian Lillard. That was not the case. But regardless, this is what's transpiring. Also, Sixers are a team to watch as well, because the fact that, you know, have they hit their ceiling? Have the Sixers hit their ceiling with Joel Embiid, with James Harden? Because they could offer Tyrese Maxey. They could do a sign and trade with James Harden. I don't know if James Harden wants to be in Portland or not. They could trade away Tobias Harris too. He is a free agent next year, so I don't know if that's going to, you know, change things up here and there, but that's what's transpiring. So what is the biggest impact that the Portland Trailblazers and Damian Lillard will have if they trade for him, or if they trade him? Now, I'll tell you one thing, if he's traded to either Brooklyn or the Heat, those guys instantaneously become, you know, a top 4 team. I wouldn't say contenders right away. I'd say a top 4 team, 100%. And the West, well, the West is losing Damian Lillard, but depends on who you get for him. You're going to get a couple picks here and there, and, you know, Portland's going to be a lottery team again, I think, if they ship out Damian Lillard. So it's not going to affect the West, but most importantly, I think it's going to affect the East. East is going to get 100% stronger. And, you know, if he did get traded, my money is on Miami. I'd go with Miami. But second close runner-up is Brooklyn, because Brooklyn has a lot more assets than Miami does. So watch out for that. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. What is the biggest impact that Damian Lillard will have, and who, if he was to get traded, who would he get traded to? Miami, Brooklyn, Sixers, or is there any other team out there that you feel that should get Damian Lillard? Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, this is Jag from Jaggy Sports.